on, let's make something new right now. We can be friends and get it flowing. Come on, let's make something new right now. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on.
Well, hey guys, welcome back to Let's Create with Alex Blake. I'm your host, Alex Blake, and today we have a guest on the pod. My brand new friend, Kayla Koons, is on the pod with us. Say hey, Kayla.
Hi.
I love it. It's like, do I say hi? Do I wait? So I always like to give the permission. Guys, Kayla is amazing. We've been following each other on Instagram for what feels like forever. I think I maybe found you through us going to the same content weekend, different years, Marina Williams content weekend.
Yes, little color pop.
Yes, I think that's how I found you. I think I started following you from that, but you are just so beautiful and so talented. So I'm super excited to get to chat with you and kind of hear more about your life, your business, and all the things. So I know. Basically, Kayla loves empowering women-owned companies. She has such a creative background, was in social media world for how long?
Gosh, 10 years.
10 years. That's a long time.
It is.
Yeah. And then she even has a whole charity initiative called Cooking Care. So I want to hear all about it. So Kayla, why don't you just start by telling us how you started in the creative world? Tell us your story in entrepreneurship and just all the things. What led you to where you are now?
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to be here, Alex. Long time coming. But my background, I was in Chicago for many years. I was a social media and art director for a gown designer. So worked in the fashion industry, which churn and burn, that's for sure. So kind of the tail end of the pandemic, my husband and I, we ended up moving back to Colorado, where we're from. And instead of flying back and forth to Chicago every other month and living in a hotel for 2 weeks, still doing shoots for fashion, I ended up launching Simplicité. I started as a social media agency and then slowly transitioned into more of just a full service luxury photo shoot company. So yeah, I kind of took what I was doing as an art director in fashion and then scaled it down to, be attainable for small to medium sized businesses.
That's really cool. So when you were working with you said it was bridal gowns? Is that right?
Evening wear, yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, super cool. Second of all, were you doing just art direction and creative direction for them, or was it that plus photography? What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So aside from managing their good old social platforms, I was planning and directing all their editorial shoots, which was
Cool.
A blast when you can spend $60,000 a day and fly in models from LA. But then also being on set, doing the selects as we're shooting e-com. So we would pretty much shoot about 2,000 dresses a week.
Wow.
Which,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And tiring.
It teaches you a lot. It's funny because everyone always thinks these big global companies have huge marketing and art departments. And it's nope, there were 5 of us.
You're it's actually just me.
Just me. No, I had a wonderful team that kind of just taught you everything.
Cool.
I landed that job way before I was qualified. That's for sure. It was my second month with that position. And they were oh yeah, you're going to Fashion Week and here's a point and shoot. And I was wait, what?
What am I doing?
What am I doing? But it's funny. It's you get tossed into those scenarios and then down the line, you're oh, that's why I learned that.
Yep. You learn through experience. I love it.
Absolutely.
So were you really competent in social media before that? And then when you you learned that and took it into your next role, or what?
Yeah. Back in the day when social was still very fun and the good old days of, like to know it and the cheesy blogger poses, that's when I was very
the 2010s.
active. Right. Oh, the glory days. That's when I was really active on social. And so I kind of ended up in that realm professionally. Yeah. And then from there, just kind of got tossed more into art direction and creative.
Yeah, that's so cool. I do feel it's interesting. They do all go together. When you have a creative brain, as long as you are taught how to do certain things, you can pick it up easier. It makes sense to me that, okay, you're in the social space. yeah, you could go in and art direct a shoot,
Yeah.
and there's skills you have to learn, of course, but the talent's already there,
Right, right. It all kind of flows together. And that's,
Yeah.
part of the reason why, forming Simplicity, our whole photo shoots and content, it is pretty much with social in mind. So like any
Yeah.
video, it's shot in a 9:16. Photos, it's a lot of people who are on content subscriptions. So every month they're getting new
Yeah.
brand content.
I
Because at the
love
end of the
that.
day, like social's here. You got to shoot for it.
No, it's so true. It's so true. And I find that like I shoot with a lot of brands too. So my main niche in photography is seniors.
Mhm.
And then in the off season, and I say it's in the off season, but really it's year round. I also work with local brands too. And they've most often in the last, I guess, year and a half or so, they've been asking me to add video into my stuff.
Yeah.
And they only want it for social media. Like I work with a major apartment complex and all they want me to do is take photos and video for social media. They're not using it on their website. They just want media stuff.
Just your social, they're like, wow, I didn't know a camera looks that much better than an iPhone.
Right. No, it's true. But okay, so let's
add it on.
No, literally. I like as soon as I started getting asked about it, I was like, so an add-on. Got it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I want to hear more about Simplicity. I think it's such a like cool concept, especially in this like new digital age that we live in, where like in the 2010s, it probably wasn't as necessary, but in these 2020 years, it is like it's ushered into like a whole, I guess it's like we're midway into the decade now, but true though, it's still like a newer thing. So tell us about like just your company in general, but also if nobody's ever heard of a company that offers like full service luxury shoots, tell us what you do for brands.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with all women-owned brands, but we also do, lifestyle shoots, portrait styled shoots, the fun stuff too, But I have a fantastic little freelance team. So I have a wardrobe stylist, hair, makeup, a fantastic creative assistant out of Denver. And pretty much what we do is a brand or a person will come to us and be like, hey, I really want to do a shoot. And then from there, it's kind of the creative juices start flowing. So with brands, it's a little bit different. A lot of them are on monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly subscriptions. So we plan out either an hour, hour and a half, or 2-hour shoot, crank out all the content. So I work with a lot of beauty brands, apparel, just like fun stuff I'm interested in because I always feel like the shoots end up being more creative.
Totally.
And then plan out everything from the concept, location, are they adding on hair, makeup, wardrobe styling, how many looks are we doing? Do we need product shots? But the idea is to pretty much make it just a very enjoyable luxury experience. The client shows up, has some champagne, just gets pampered, and then we shoot and create. So
that is so cool. I have definitely heard of like similar things to what you're doing, but not in the same luxury way that you're offering it, which I think is a very unique thing. And it serves a very specific purpose for your clients. Yeah. I love that, like, I, as a senior photographer, right, offer my seniors this luxury experience. I want them to feel like it's so fun and everything, but I haven't thought about, okay, with a company owner, how can I pamper them and make it feel like they're not working, even though they are, right? Like they're like, it's work for them to go to that photo shoot and get all of the content of their clothes or whatever. But like, how can you serve them in a way that it feels like they're just like having a day for them at the spa?
Yeah. A lot of it stems from because being in Colorado, it's a very different market than Chicago, LA, New York.
Sure.
And a lot of businesses don't have model budgets. They don't have these crazy expenses they can cover. And so when you're turning a business owner into the face and the model of their own company or brand, it makes sense. It's like, no, even though you're a business owner, like this is about you, like enjoy, this will be fun. And I swear, I don't know what is in the water, but I get blessed with the most beautiful clients.
That's awesome.
I'm like, this makes my job easy. So I love it. I love it. I've also, as Simplicity has grown, I definitely just have, that basic 1-hour shoot. So when people are, reaching out and they're just wanting to do like a really cute birthday styled shoot or something like that. Absolutely. It's a little bit less, all hands on deck in the studio for
more laid back.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about your shift into like this whole luxury full service shoot feel from where you were, which was just a social media agency.
Yeah. So when I did end up coming back to Colorado and launching Simplicity, it was Simplicity Social. And it was, full curation of social platforms, everything from Pinterest to paid. And then it became very apparent that a lot of clients were hiring us to, shoot all their content as well. So it was very hands off. I had clients who didn't even care about approving captions anymore. And I really found joy in moving into more of, the photography and videography, and really kind of dove headfirst into more education for that. Yes. Wow. I learned a lot working in fashion with the back end of everything, but not to like the level I wanted to be.
Sure.
So it was probably, the past year and a half is where that shift kind of started to happen. And then, as of last month, social has been fully dropped off. So
wow. Congrats. I know that's probably a really big thing for you. Like that's a huge step.
It is, but the clients that I was working with social, we're still doing content, and I have a couple where it's like, we worked together for so long, like we'll still do a little, but content subscriptions for them.
So what year did you start Simplicity Social?
2002. No, 2000.
I was like, wait, what?
I'm dating myself. Look, I'm in my 30s. But
that is so funny. I was like, wait, how old are you?
How is this adding up? Yes. So back in the day.
Yeah, you were a child.
I know. I'm like, what was I doing in 2002?
I was in the second grade.
Just hustle mindset from a young age.
That's right. You found your entrepreneur lane.
22. Yeah.
Okay, 22.
My husband and I, we moved back to Colorado at the very, very tail end of the pandemic. So 22.
Cool. That's awesome. So you've been doing it for a while. You're ready to move into this next lane. But I mean, starting even just Simplicity Social and then moving into this next, realm of your business, both are really hard. What are some challenges that you feel like you either did face maybe when you were starting the business or you're now facing pivoting it? And maybe those are two different answers, two different questions, but like tell us about the challenges, how you've either already overcome them or how you're fighting to right now.
Yeah, I think it's probably across the board for like any entrepreneur. You're starting your own business and it's freaking scary. Like,
100%.
You don't know if it's going to work. I'm very, very thankful. My husband was like my biggest supporter in resigning from a corporate world. He was like, just do it. Like, what's the worst that'll happen? And I was like, you're right.
Okay, I'll borrow your faith in this.
Yeah, he's like, you've been sitting on this LLC for 2 years before you quit your job. Just like do it. I was like, okay, valid. So I think it's just like a little bit of imposter syndrome, which everybody has, a little bit of nerves, and then just, I don't know, holding yourself accountable. Like, come on, we all kind of some days would just rather kick up our feet and veg out instead of sitting behind a screen for hours.
Yeah, I told you it's really good weather today. All I wanted to do was be outside and just neglect all my responsibilities.
I know. If I was in South Carolina, I'd be like, it's patio season, baby.
100%.
Like, get me out of this.
It is 72 out today and I want to be in shorts on a walk. But it does take like holding yourself accountable. So I love that you said that it takes discipline.
It does. It does. And I think the only way that I kind of get around that is having a very strict like daily schedule I stick to. Otherwise, I'd probably be at an antique store half the day doing God knows what. But, you have your own business. So maybe you're sourcing for props and you can go shopping.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Well, tell me a little bit about that. I know this wasn't anything I prepared you for, but tell me about like that schedule that you keep for yourself and how you kind of set those boundaries.
Yeah. Let's see. I get up earlier than I want to. I do my Melissa Wood Health in the morning, chug some coffee, sit in our sauna and just like literally make myself a to-do list after good old meditation.
Let's go back to the sauna.
Yeah, girl.
You have your own sauna?
Yes. My husband built us a gym in our basement. That was part of like the joy of leaving the city life.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my gosh, we have a full house in the suburbs. What is this?
That's awesome.
A saving grace for sure.
Yeah.
But good old infrared sauna. So I sit in there, kind of map
especially
out my
in the winter.
day. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And keep your phone on do not disturb until 9 a.m. Like,
yes, I do that too.
Clients cannot contact. I'm also like very regimented with keeping client communication via email. it's just like my phone's my phone. Like I don't want to be on it all the time. Like I said,
Yeah.
after working in social for so long, I'm like, I don't want to be on it.
Yeah. No, I'm the exact same way. I have very specific, like I have downtime set on my
Yeah.
phone. So past 6:30 p.m., I don't go on social media, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can if I want, like if I'm on a walk and it's just myself, like I will, but like I want to be with my husband. I want to be with my
Totally.
people, my friends or whatever past that
Be
time.
present.
Yes. And then at 9 a.m. it comes off. So, and then I put my phone to bed at night, like in another room. And it's so nice because I'm just able to just be and be a human without a screen in my face.
Totally. We're
Yeah.
all so guilty of it,
I
especially,
know.
as photographers. You're always on a
Exactly.
screen.
Yeah. Or anything in marketing, really. But
Oh my gosh, I know.
I love getting to hear that though, because I do think it like you're so right. It just takes holding yourself accountable. It takes boundaries and discipline. But if we're not careful about it or intentional about it, like we will let our work rule us when really like most of the time we want to become our own boss to become our own boss,
Right?
So we have to boss ourselves around a little bit.
Avoid burnout at all costs.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about going back to like, okay, luxury service, all the things for your shoots. Tell me a little bit about what you do to make a vision come to life. So you have obviously talked about like pampering the client, and that's a part of that, I think. But like if they have a vision for their company, what is it that you're doing to make sure that comes really to life in the photos and video?
Yeah. So there's kind of two folds to that. Sometimes I have clients who are addicted to Pinterest and they have boards running for each season. And I'm like, yes, I love you so much. And then, if they're sending a board, great. How am I going to execute this? So doing location scouting or pitching out whatever studios, whether we need to go into Denver, whether there's a local spot, and kind of breaking it up. A lot of my shoots, for brands, sometimes they have two locations. So we're going to do indoor and outdoor depending on concepts.
Yeah.
So
Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but is your studio cost included in your price that you give them?
it is.
Cool.
It is. I think that's part of having a very luxury experience.
Yeah.
There are no additional invoices for clients. Everything is all inclusive. I think it just saves headaches. It saves, business owners who are already like all over the place. It's just like
Right.
very streamlined.
Yeah.
And then I also have clients who are just like, I don't really know what I want, but I need just updated branding shots, for instance. And it's like, okay, tell me a little bit more about your business. Are you laid
Yeah.
back? Are you more like modern and like ready to go? And then kind of building a concept off of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And for these, like I know you said obviously that your clients are also the face of the business. Are these like you are also including models in this as well? Correct.
Yeah. So I do have some clients like, for instance, like a hair extension company, they're going to be more on board with bringing in models, whether we use
Right.
local or book through an agency in Denver.
Yeah.
But a lot of clients that I have want to shoot because I think they like see how fun shoots look.
Yeah. They like want the
Behind scenes and stuff. They're like,
experience.
ooh, this looks fun. I want a model.
Yeah.
And like, what woman doesn't want bomb pictures of themselves?
No,
Like,
that's so true. That's true. It's
Yeah.
a thing. All women just want it. But
exactly.
okay, well, I love that you kind of like pitched the whole like what woman doesn't want this, because you do like empower women so well. And I was thinking, okay, so when I was preparing for this podcast today, I was looking through like your Instagram and everything, just kind of like coming up with questions I wanted to ask you. One of the things that I think makes your company unique, and it's cool to hear that this is something you want to serve for other clients as well, but like I think you share your life and photos of yourself really easily on your social media. And I don't know if that was actually like always been easy for you on the inside, but like you just show yourself so well and like you're so beautiful and like everything that you post is like yourself and it's authentic and it's also a showcase of what you can serve for other people, which is really cool. But like, why do you think it's so important for you to show yourself and kind of your own journey on your Instagram, even though it's business?
Yeah, you're so kind. Well, thank you, Alex. I personally feel like I'm super lazy on my personal Instagram. I used to be very active and then, work is your life. So
Yeah.
I'd rather make everybody else look really great and take photos instead of setting up my tripod and self-shooting, which occasionally will happen.
Right, right.
No, I think it's important whenever you're in such like a personal service, you're working one-on-one with someone, they should know who they're working with. I think it's confusing, as someone who has booked so many photographers myself, it's tough when you're not quite sure who you're going to be working with or what their personality is. And I think showcasing yourself on social to whatever degree you're comfortable will truly attract clients that are kind of aligned with your personality or your taste, vision, that sort of thing. So I think in that sense, it's really, I don't know. I kind of just post whatever now, honestly, because who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like social
It's
is so
true.
different than it used to be. Aside from, doing the behind the scenes stuff for my actual company, I try to stay diligent about that. But on personal stuff, it's like post what feels good.
Yeah.
If you don't post for 3 weeks, whoops, sorry.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right.
No,
Like,
I
who
actually
cares?
love what you just said. Something, it was just kind of a like, ooh, interesting, like a little light in my head went off of like, you post whatever you want now. I also post whatever I want. But our two feeds, literally, Kayla, could never be, they are night and day. Like mine is like a bunch of seniors like flying around in a field, running around in a field or on the beach or whatever, and me being like, go, and like screaming in the camera for them. And like for you, you look put together and very like boss woman, and like, but it is true. But both, there's nothing wrong with either one of them. But it's our two different personalities that are being shown. And what you said that I loved was like, people are going to book you based on your personality. They want to see like your personality. And then based on that personality is what they want to book, like your clients most likely wouldn't book me, and that's not a bad thing. And my clients most likely wouldn't book you because they're looking for someone with a different energy, and same for, the opposite too. So I feel like it's an interesting thing where like, it doesn't matter how you post it doesn't matter what you post. It matters how you post almost,
Absolutely.
like it matters like the content that you're showing is authentic to who you are, like you feel like a very luxury person. It makes sense that your offer is a luxury offer. Therefore, when you're posting, you're going to attract luxury clients. I'm like, I could wear overalls and a sweatshirt all day. Like,
which also I'm jealous of. I'm like, I can't even show up to set like in leggings because I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Right. Like I have to build a brand where that's okay because I could never wear a blazer.
I love it. It's probably PTSD from working in fashion for so many years, to be honest. It's just like ingrained in me. I'm like, no, you wear black to set.
That is so funny.
Like,
but that's a good thing because it helps with your clients, like who you're wanting to book. They want that. They want you to wear black to set, or whatever. But it's just funny. It's like cool to think about because I think a lot of the time creatives just get so trapped in, you said this earlier, but imposter syndrome. Yeah. They get trapped in like this comparison game because I think that's really what imposter syndrome is. It's comparing yourself to people. And if you and I were to compare ourselves to each other, like we would get so stuck because I could never be you. You can never be me,
No. And I wish more people would understand that too, especially, I don't know, the creative kind of industry that you have around you.
Sure.
But I feel like a lot of the time photographers can be so like standoffish because they're like, oh, maybe you're going to get a client that I wanted. And it's like, no, we're never going to have the same client. Same thing. Like, if I get an inquiry for like a couple's photography session or, a wedding or something, I'm like, I don't shoot that, but let me refer you to X, Y, and Z in the area. Because I've worked with them, like getting photos of my husband and I, and you'd like them, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to shoot it. I've shot like one wedding for a model that I've known for years, only because she was getting married on a Friday and I don't work weekends.
Yes, I love it. No, I'm actually doing a wedding this weekend, which is so wild because it's like for a family friend, but I haven't done a wedding in years. And I'm like, all right, like feeling like a wedding photographer.
Sometimes you're like, oh, I love. But then you're like, I could never do this all the time.
No, absolutely not my thing.
No, I'm like retouching every single hair. I was like, I can't. I would lose money shooting weddings, honestly.
No, I totally understand. That is so funny. But yeah, I love that conversation just in general. I was also thinking about as far as like you sharing more of your face online and everything like that. How do you feel like sharing yourself online empowers other women and your clients that you're serving?
Yeah. I think for me, sometimes I just want to do like a fun shoot myself. I see inspo and I don't have, a paid client who's booking something similar. I'm like, I'll just self shoot it. And then
Yeah.
the funny thing is, I will get clients who will literally send me screenshots from my personal Instagram and be like, "Ooh, I really liked this. Can we do something like
Cool.
that?" I'm like, "Yes, we can, girl."
Happy I posted it.
Yes, absolutely. Blazer, nothing else. Throw some wind in there, call it good.
Yes. I love it. That's really cool. I also want to hear, just to like kind of pivot a little bit, I want to hear a little bit more about your nonprofit. I saw that on your page and I was like, okay, I've got to ask her about that. So tell us a little bit about Cooking Cares.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the end of last year, my husband and I, we formed a 501c3 called Cooking Cares. And we're kind of still in the beginning phases, but my husband, he's in consulting by like actual trade, but he decided he was going to go to culinary school for just funsies. Like, okay,
Do your thing.
do I cook at home? No. And then he's like doing these extravagant meals.
That's literally me and my husband, just to let you know. Like I literally, if I'm cooking, it's going to be dino like chicken nuggets in the oven, and that's it. Like dead serious. Maybe some sweet potato fries.
Right. If you're feeling spicy.
Right. And it's always frozen first. Like I'm not making them.
Like, I can bake up a storm, but you asked me to cook something and like
I don't even bake.
grandmother's rolling over.
That is so funny. But yeah, but my husband loves to cook too. He loves all the fancy foods, so they can hang.
Exactly. So he ended up going to culinary school as a hobby, and both of us in the past have been very involved in charity work. And it was just kind of something that lacked a little when we were living in the city, and then moving back, just life gets crazy. And we're like, wow, we really, miss that aspect of our lives. And he was like, well, what can we do with like cooking and hosting and things like this? And so we came up with Cooking Cares, which we host very private, intimate dinner parties. So 8 to 12 people, coursed out meals. So about 10 courses, wine pairings or whiskey pairings, depending on what the theme is. And whoever's hosting that dinner, 100% of the proceeds, aside from the food costs, go to the host selected charity.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I love the concept of that. I think like a lot of the time as entrepreneurs, we can think, okay, like all of our ideas have to be like a new business, of how I can make money. And that's such a great question to ask, right? But I like the idea of saying, okay, what's a problem? Like not just what's a problem I could solve and also make money on it, but what's a problem our world has? How can I solve that issue and give back? Like, I think that's such a like unique question, and not everyone thinks to ask those questions. So I love that. And I think it ties so easily into being an entrepreneur and having creative ideas all the time in our heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We love it because it does curate such like intimate conversations with people who don't necessarily know each other. It brings my husband so much joy being able to give back, but also create these extravagant meals. Our next one, we're doing like a 10-course omakase Japanese dinner.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he's out here like figuring out gold leafs and different, caviars to bring in and stuff. And I'm just like, so what's the flower arrangements gonna be?
That is amazing. Yeah, our husbands need to chat because Zach will go crazy over that. Yeah,
right?
For sure. Okay, so how do you balance like running something as crazy as that? Honestly, like that's like that in itself is luxury on top of like a successful business, and of course your husband's in consulting too. So like, how do you balance all of that?
Yeah. Well, for us, we had to definitely be like, we're doing one dinner quarterly. I think it also keeps that anticipation up. As far as, people who have put their name onto like the RSVP outreach list. If it was more than once a quarter, I probably would go a little crazy.
That makes sense.
We typically host a lot just anyway. We love it. So yeah, just keeping the charity dinners to once a quarter. And then we do have an annual blood drive with the American Red Cross. So we factor that in. But at least that's like, okay, every October we have that. We can map out the dinners. If it was like weekly or like every month, oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I need my sleep.
Yeah. I love that you picked like a sustainable schedule. I talk about this all the time when people ask me like, okay, I want to start my own podcast, like they get excited about it. And I'm like, well, it's great, but like weekly is hard. Like weekly content or a weekly event or whatever it is, like it's hard because it comes. like Thursday for the podcast, it's coming every week,
Yeah.
or like if you're in an event world and you've got an event on Sunday, it's coming every week, So I love picking something that's sustainable for your life and your business. I think that's really wise. And it really goes back to the boundaries thing that we were talking about earlier. So I love that. Okay. If you could pick like one piece of advice to give someone as they're starting out in beginning in a creative business, what advice would you give them?
Oh my goodness. Do what feels good. I think, especially in the creative space, a lot of us feel the pressure to offer everything and cater to everyone's needs when in reality, that's not sustainable. It's not authentic to what you're going to enjoy. And in the long run, you're going to hit that burnout. So truly, it's okay to say no. It's okay to not offer something. It's okay to decide you hate doing something. Just kind of following that gut intuition and do what feels good.
Yeah, I love it. It goes back to exactly what we were talking about earlier, like just being yourself.
Truly.
Just lean into what you're good at.
Please be authentic.
I love it. Okay, Kayla, we'll tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow Simplicity, Cooking Cares, all the things.
Well, my Instagram, I kind of have all of it linked, but I'm at Kayla J. Koons. And then Simplicity is Simplicity, SIMPLICITE_studio. But yeah, it was a joy chatting with you, Alex.
I know. Thank you so much for coming on. I loved getting to know you and getting to hear all about your life and the fact that you have a sauna in your basement. Guys, she has a sauna in her basement. That is so cool. Anyway, guys. Okay, I will see you guys next Thursday. You've been listening to Let's Create with Alex Blake. I'm your host, Alex Blake, and this was Kayla, and we're signing off. See you next Thursday. Bye.